Hey, good morning, League. This is Kenny doing a quick, well, war recap video and kind of just some pointers, some things that I see that will hopefully get us going again on our Town Hall 11 versus Town Hall 11 attacks. So let's go ahead and jump into things. We've dropped two in a row. Nobody likes to lose, but that's coming off of a 6 war win streak, and we're real close. I do see a couple of things that I hope will help. So I'm gonna show some of the 3 stars by the enemy. I'm gonna show some of the not 3 stars by us. And again, it's not to be critical. It's to get us going in the right direction. We do clam up a little bit when we lose. The chat goes a little quieter. Um, the group seems to be a lot happier when we're winning and getting those good bonuses. So let's go ahead and jump into a few things. Let's start with some of the enemy hits. You can see when you kind of go up and down their board, in their top 5 or 6, you've got a 67% that wasn't so good, but then 100, 81, 100, 96, 100, 100, 99, 97, 187, 99. Really high percentages, right, from their top 5 or 6. And it doesn't quite match up on our side. We're still coming in with a lot of these, 60 to 80% hits. And, right now it's an offensive game. So, if you're not getting the Town Hall 11 3 stars, it's making it hard to win. So let's go ahead and show some of the things that the enemy was doing, and I'm pointing them out because I think what the enemy is doing is more spam style attacks as opposed to queen walks. There has been some rumblings of changes to the AI of the Archer Queen, and so it's leading her to go astray a little bit, or perhaps not behave the way that we are used to seeing. And so, the group that we ran up against seems to have you know, come up with a different strategy. And these are strategies that we saw back in the fall. So this is very similar to the Bowler Witch combination that we've been using, except they're doing it more like the old style attack without using a walk. So let's go ahead and watch it here. So it looks like it is 2 witches, 4 bowlers, 2 healers in each of the corners. That's at 6 and 9 o'clock. And then he's laying down a jump spell and dropping the remainder of the bowlers, the heroes, and 2 additional healers in the core. And you can see what he's going to do here is he's just going to paint the board with the rages, right? And he's going to put another jump spell down eventually over the eagle. Laid on his poison, still not down. Now it's down, and he missed the witches, so he does make a mistake there. Um, you know, Probably cost him a little bit. Gets his heel down to keep those bowlers going. He's late a little bit on the. Okay, the rage is down now. And the queen eventually jumps up and gets that last Inferno Tower. But now you can see, he's at that 60% mark, and he still has a queen. He still has queen ability, and he still looks like he has 5 of his healers. I'll go ahead and speed it up. Doug made a comment on the board this morning that he thought this guy got a little lucky. I agree with that. He did, but you get to a point in these raids where you still have your Archer Queen and you still have your Archer Queen ability, and you still have some healers up. You've got yourself a chance. So at this point, it's just too much. It's too much for the Zips remaining defenses to be able to handle. Pops his Queen ability, takes out the last couple remaining defenses. And that's a triple. Good work without having to deal with an AQ walk, right? All right, let's see what else they did. Okay, they got bullet on this one. So similar build, right? He used 5 healers. This guy is doing an AQ walk actually, but he is bringing 2 P.E.K.K.A.s, but still a couple of witches, and so it's similar to the Bowler Witch build that we do, except he has traded out a couple of bowlers. Usually the Bowler Witch combination that we've been using has roughly 19 or 20 bowlers. This guy, he only has 16 bowlers, 3 witches instead of 4, and a couple less wall breakers, and that's allowed him to bring in 2 of these max level P.E.K.K.A.s. And so he's quickly and early starting his funnel. He's got a P.E.K.K.A going down the board there to create a nice funnel. He's got his wall breakers going in, and they get that hole in the wall, and funnel established. Everything's going to be going into that hole. He gets his jump spells down early. That's something I like to see us do. These jump spells, they last a full minute. That's an eternity out there. No reason not to get them down early, because it's just one less thing you have to worry about when you need to be concentrating on putting your rages down. You need to concentrate on getting your poison spell down timely, and you got to concentrate on when you're going to be using your hero abilities. So not having to worry about when your second jump spell is going to go down is a good idea. And so just put it down there and have some confidence that your troops are going to do what you're hoping that they're going to do, and just go for it. Because again, a 60-70% in war these days, it's not cutting it. So you might as well just go, all in and go for that 3-star. Now, here's a criticism of this guy. He is late on his second rage. That thing should be down because he's got a lot of troops in that area, and they could be really going to town right now, but they're not. And now it's down, and he's let it too far. He doesn't have them touching each other. We do that a lot too. We are forwarding our rages too far and not getting them down soon enough, and it's just a killer. All right. So he gets his poison down fast, but now he's into this area, right, where he's got all these bowlers and everything is still going. He's got all of his healers up still. He has his Archer Queen that still has an ability. Too much. Why? Because he got a funnel, and he got all of his troops to the core, and for the most part, he put his spells down timely. And Bullet made a comment on the message board earlier about using our abilities too early. He's right. You need to use your Grand Warden ability in the core with all of your troops, and you need to save your Archer Queen ability till the end, when similar to what that guy did with Zip. You use it when you need it, but not until you need it. And the only time you would ever use your Archer Queen ability earlier would be if you realize you're late with your rage spell in the early goings of an AQ walk attack, and you need to keep her alive. That's when you use your Queen ability. Other than that, it should be late, or mid to late raid all the time. All right, let's see what this guy does. Okay, so this one was a little different. No witches. 6 healers, 28 bowlers. I think he had CC giants. He also doesn't have a heal spell. He elected to go with 4 rages. So he gets one group of bowlers down. He gets his healers down. It does the same thing on the other side. Again, he's just establishing a funnel. 1 jump spell down, 2nd jump spell down. See a pattern, guys? They're just having confidence that their funnel is going to be established, and it is, and they're getting the jump spells down. That way they can just simply concentrate on troop deployment, rage spells, and hero abilities. Giants in first. A crap ton of bowlers in behind it. First rage down. See how the rage is back, so it's catching those bowlers early. That's the way you got to do it. Late on his poison. Late on his poison. There it is. And then he just starts painting the board with his rages. Similar to the guy that hit Zip, I thought that this guy got a little lucky as well. So he's dropping his third rage right now. I'm not sure where it's at. There it is. I actually think having a heal spell is more beneficial than a fourth rage, because right now, if he had that heal spell down, he would have all of those bowlers would be staying alive under a rage to get all the Teslas, to get the second Inferno, and to get the Eagle Artillery. Instead, he runs into a bomb that gets a bunch of his bowlers, and stuff's just starting to get picked off now. And he could have walked out of this area right now, probably with about 5 to 7 more bowlers if he had just used a heal spell there. But only I can be critical of a 3-star. We'll speed it up. So that single set Inferno kind of did a number. It did a number on this guy's troops. But, this is now similar to the Zip attack at the end. What's he got? Well, he doesn't have much, but he has a pretty much a full health Archer Queen dropping down now, but he still has the ability. And the ability is what drives this to be a 3-star. So anyway, good execution by them. It's just having confidence in the troops. You drop the troops, make a funnel, put some healers down, and it is relying a little bit on an element of luck, right? Because if you happen to have a base that has your black air bombs in the center, those healers go down. Might be another thing for us to consider. I'm not sure where folks have their air bombs right now, but we're not seeing a lot of air raids right now. So we're seeing some hogs, but we're seeing mostly bowlers and witches, and we're seeing a vast majority of the 3-stars, both for us and for the enemy, are when healers are living through the raid and keeping everything alive. And the only way they live through a raid is if they get through the core and nothing has killed them. And because the bowlers and everything are getting the air defenses before they are, and the healers are so far behind them that they're not within reach, the only way to get the healers is with these bombs. So maybe having centralized air bombs is the way to go. For a while, you'd put 1 or 2 on the outside, hoping to take down a healer. That can work. I'm not sure that that's the way to go now. Let's go ahead and just show one more there. So this wasn't a 3-star, but it's a similar build, right? It's 6 healers, and then a combination of the bowlers and witches. Note that they're not taking a lot of wall breakers on their stuff either, on their attacks. They're just taking 2 jumps. And that's not a bad strategy either, because if you're relying on wall breakers and you have some sort of a wall breaker fail, your raid is over, right? So what does this guy do? 2 witches, couple bowlers, both sides, 2 healers, jump, crap ton of bowlers, 2 more healers, heroes. Paint the board with the rages. He's late on the rage. There it is. Is he late on the poison? No, not too bad. Probably didn't need his warden ability yet, but he did it anyway. Gets his other rage down. He'd be better off with his warden ability right now. And so his issue was that not everything took his jump, right? So now he's got the problem of split troops. We've seen this before. I mean, this normally doesn't end up well. But he still has 3 or 4 healers, and notice he still has his Archer Queen ability. It's going to have to go in a second, I think. Yep. And, again, this one requires a little bit of an element of luck. But you know what? A 99% 2-star, we'd all like to luck into those every once in a while. And at the end, the only reason why he didn't get this was due to time. And if he had had a few more of his troops go into the core and take out that other Inferno tower, he would have had it pretty easily. So another strategy to consider. When would be another really good time to use this? So we have some new Town Hall 11s, and man, there's not really a good way to sugarcoat this. That we're struggling with getting Town Hall 10s, and the enemy's not struggling to get our Town Hall 10s with 11s. And I think some of what's happening is we're struggling with our Queen Walks. So it would be maybe a good idea for our Town Hall 11s who, at this point, I'm assuming you've probably got your bowlers and your witches and perhaps your healers up to par by now, to use this strategy on these Town Hall 11s. On these Town Hall 10s. They are not going to be able to stop it. They're not going to be able to stop it. Okay. Let's go ahead and show what we had on the other side. So this is a base that was pretty similar to Bullets. We saw this base a couple wars ago. Zip hit it. And I cleaned up. He had gotten like a 70 or 80%, I think, on it. And it kind of just showed me the way on how to do it. So when we see this base now, this is actually very similar to what the enemy did, except they came in from the other side. So it's just a walk towards the 12 o'clock area. I'm sorry, from the 12 o'clock towards the 3 o'clock area. Queen steps up and gets that air defense. So now the healers are in absolutely no danger. You start the funnel with the king and a few bowlers. Break a hole in the wall. Get the 2 jump spells down. And then paint the board with the rages. By the way, just watch what I'm talking about with the rages. There's the Warden ability. The other rage is down, and then you drop that heal. I just think the heal is so critical because it just keeps those bowlers going. I mean, I know you've got healers there, and then sometimes what ends up happening too is, if you have some air defenses that are starting to pick off the healers step up into the remaining heal spell that's down, and it keeps them up. And I just think the heal is a really, really good move there. I've had a lot of success using it. And now there's just too many troops for this base to handle. And it's down. Got another 3-star on enemy number 4. I had hit this base earlier in the... Actually, I'm going to show it, because these are the kinds of things you should be looking for on scouts. So I had hit this base with my Adam account earlier in the war, and I went in with the same exact strategy that I had done, but I want to show you where this one went wrong. This ended up being like an 80-something% 1-star, and wanted to show the adjustment that was made. All right, we're going to get into it now. Stop. Pause. You see those skeleton traps that came in? That came out right here? Those ended up distracting my... I think a few more skeleton traps come out in just a second. Yeah, there was just enough there to keep my Archer Queen from going around the horn, right? So saw that happened on that hit. And so then we go forward and say, okay, you've got those traps that are going to draw things in. to that area, then let's go ahead and use it to our advantage. And so you can see the queen walk is exactly the same. And instead of placing the second jump spell in this area here to get the town hall, we just go ahead and put it here because we know that eventually that those skeleton traps are going to pop up and everything's going to go towards the Inferno Towers in the town hall. Rage should be down. There it is. And where are the skeletons? There they are. So now everything comes into the core. You've got some bombs there. You've got 2 Infernos are hitting you, so you use the Warden ability. Gets everything through there. Get your poison down. And then you get your last rage and your last heal spell down in that area. And it keeps all the bowlers alive. And there are a lot of bowlers there. And it ends up just being too much for the base to be able to handle. Because if you can get your main group of troops through the core and still pumping, and you're at about 50 to 60%, the raid is over. Every time. Every time. All right, let's show a couple that could have been improved. Okay, so here's one by Zip. So Zip's plan was to walk from noon towards 3 with his queen. Starts out good. He got a little fortunate there. So the wall breakers were behind the queen. You always want to try to get them ahead of where she's going, because oftentimes if you make a hole in the wall and your queen has already walked by it, she doesn't take it. And that happens again here in just a second. So he was trying to get the queen into the second row there. And if he's going to drop more wall breakers, which he does, I know they're coming. So they're going and they're going to break on that corner piece, which is exactly what he wanted them to do. Except the queen is already like 4 tiles past. So there's a hole in the wall she's just going to keep going. So that's okay. He moves on, right? No big deal. He still has 2 jump spells. Okay, I have to pause it here. Queen ability was used. Never. Got to use a rage there. Just got to. Because you need that queen ability in order to... I know there was... Zip had 2 3-stars a few wars back, and he did it this way. But I really just feel pretty strongly that the queen ability needs to hold until later in the war. So later in the attack. All right, so he's now established the funnel. He's used wall breakers, and he's in. Now, where's your other troops at? I mean, the hole is in the wall. Everything in this core is going to start hammering everything that's there. But we're not dropping our troops. Jumps down. Where's the troops? There they come. It was probably about 8 seconds too late. Because by the time everything gets there, now the first rage goes down. Now the Warden ability is used. But again, it's just there was not a flow to that one. There was just a big delay. And so troops split, and it just got it all fouled up. He does manage his witches work real hard to get that town hall to secure the 2-star, which is fine. But again, in this offensive game that we have right now, mid-60s, 2 stars, it's gonna likely need to be redone. Let's show OBQ came really close on enemy number 3. Same base, right? So watch, he does a queen walk similar, but he's doing 3 to 12. 3 to 12. He also has his wall breakers on this one. They come in. And I believe his queen had passed the area where they were going to come in at. Or, Yeah, see, let's just even that's tough too. He actually didn't do that bad on those wall breakers. The queen just decided that she was liking the direction that she was going to go. But no worries. I mean, so you adjust it. You see that that's happened. OBQ has recognized right now that that has happened. So he's gonna move on. He's got the king down. He's got the bowlers down. He's establishing a funnel, and his queen now turns to go into that hole, which is good because she can eventually get that air defense that's pounding on his healers right now. And so okay, so he's got a little bit of troop split as well, but he sees that his queen's going back to this area. So OBQ pretty quickly here. Okay, gets the jump down, and now here come his troops. And so everything's going to go, and they're going to go towards that area. He gets a good rage, good early rage. Now, I keep going back to this heal spell thing. I would have probably loved to have had a heal spell in this area where everything's taken a lot of heat. But I think what got OBQ on this attack is he forgot his poison. He had his warden ability was used, but his poison spell is not down, and he's got a ton of bowlers right now, but they end up hitting a bomb, and that was the end of him. And so I think if he had his poison spell down and had coupled that with a heal in that area where they were taking a lot of heat, this 95%, I think, easily goes to 100. Because his bowlers would have come down and taken out this area right here where that Tesla farm is, and he still has a healer on his queen, so it just would have been a 3. All right, what else? What else did I want to show? I guess that's all the videos, all the war techs I'm going to show. Another thing to point out. Most of the enemy 3 stars, like Gino had an attack here. Well, let's go ahead and show it. It was on enemy number 5. The more and more I watch these attacks, the more and more I think that coming in on corners can be really tough with the funnel. Where's he at? Okay, so he does a good job saving his queen. Everything's coming in at a weird angle. And oh, that's right. His wall breakers did really good. Screwed him over. So instead of taking that, there's now 2 holes in the wall in the wall there, and so it just gets his bowlers to funnel down the outside of the base, or some of them at least. I don't know. I find it hard coming in on the corners, and just an observation from what the enemy did, other than the hit on Bullet and the hit that I did on enemy number 1. But that base, that's a pretty common style base, and that's just the way to hit that thing. I think if we can avoid coming in on corners, I think it helps. A couple just other notes. So for our Town Hall 11s who are maxed out, especially maxed out on your heroes, I think it's a really good idea to raid with your war builds right now. Use the Bowler and Witches combination for your raids, because we need the practice. And we're not doing any friendly challenges that much. And then people are busy, people are working, people have families, and I get that. And so do I. And I'm not doing a lot of friendly challenges either. But what we are all very good at is doing our raids each day, because all of us have all of our builders going all the time, and we're making significant progress with our bases each and every day. So you know, we shouldn't be, so I know some of us are using loons, some of us are using, all sorts of other combinations, probably ones that are more cost effective, right? Because we're trying to build our resources. I think we need to be war effective at this point. Use war builds for your raids. It's the best way to practice. In fact, it's the only practice you're going to get, because doing 2 war raids every 48 hours is not going to get you any better. It's just a fact. So, let's do that, or try to do that if we can. For our Town Hall 11s that are fairly new, please get your eagle. You're drawing an eagle anyway. Broken record. Sam, get an eagle. You're maxed out. Get an eagle. You're drawing an eagle anyway. And if you're drawing a max base with max heroes because you're a max base with max heroes without an eagle, and then the enemy is coming in with that account and beating the shit out of our Town Hall 11s with their max base, and we're not doing the same thing, it's killing us. So at least give them a max full base to have to deal with. It just makes sense. BJC, Jas, Sam, some of you guys, watch these enemy hits that they just did. If some of you are like, well, I don't like queen walks, I'm not good at queen walks, fine. They just kicked our ass without using a queen walk. But just by, but they are using 3-star builds, which is involving heavy use of the healers and the bowlers and witches right now. It is just what is the strongest thing. We have seen a downtick in hog use since the last update because of all the new bombs. We have seen a downtick in air use with since the new update as well. So let's get with it and get back on a winning track here, and hope to see some real good communication and some good 3-star hits in our war that's starting up tonight. All right, guys. Have a good day.